Hello guys, and welcome back for another video. Today's topic of conversation is going to be about virgins, seeing virgin clients. I am having a bev at the moment. We're currently waiting for Cyclone Alfred to hit and nothing is happening. It's like 6 p.m. So what a better opportunity to film some YouTube videos for you guys. I'm unsure how I'm going to structure this video. It may end up being 2 separate videos on the topic because I have a lot of things I want to talk about. I want to start out by saying not all escorts, full service providers will see virgins. This is something that other creators have spoken about before, how they're just not comfortable seeing them, and I will get into why a little bit further on in the video, a bit of an explanation and the difficulties of handling these situations. However, please note that they do have the right and the free will to, choose who they would like to see, and if this makes them uncomfortable, then of course they're going to deny taking these bookings, because as much as I'm sure they want the money, they want you to have a good first time and they want you to be with a provider who feels like they're able to handle the situation. I personally do see virgins as clients. I have seen many in my time. However, I'm completely aware that it is a very different landscape to a normal booking, and it needs to be approached very, very differently. And I can definitely see why some providers may feel that they just don't want to deal with this. They don't want to see these clients. I can completely understand why. Personally, I do find them to be quite rewarding bookings, and that is why I'm more than happy to take them. In this video, I want to discuss the pressure that comes with doing these kinds of bookings, some tips and tricks, as well as talking about how it is different to a regular booking. I hope that this will be a useful resource to other workers maybe, or possibly a great resource for virgins who stumble upon this video and are on the fence about seeing a provider in order to lose their virginity. The first thing I want to make note of in this video is I do ask that any virgins who stumble upon this video and are like, yep, I'm going to do it, I'm going to lose it, I'm going to see a provider, that you let them know ahead of time that you are a virgin. Now, you may be like, well, why do I need to tell them? And we are going to get into all that. We're going to get into why these bookings are so different. But I think that it is best for both you and the provider to let them know what situation they are getting themselves into. That way, also, it gives them an opportunity to say to you, hey, I don't see virgins. I'm really sorry. I can direct you to this person that I know does, or, maybe keep searching, etc. That way you don't end up in a situation where you're showing up for that booking and that person is like, no, I don't see clients like you, and sending you away. So you may be wondering why a booking from a virgin is so different to a standard booking. First thing I want to talk about is nerves. Virgin clients are inevitably going to be a lot more nervous than your average client. And so therefore the situation needs to be approached with a lot more patience, a lot more empathy, a lot more consideration. It's not going to be a wham bam, in and out, easy done booking. It is a lot more complex. They generally need more time to ease into the booking in order to feel comfortable. And in a lot of the bookings of this nature that I've had, it is not just their first time having sex. It is also, for most of mine, being their first kiss, their first oral, their first everything in one go. With it being a lot of firsts, this can be a really overwhelming experience for somebody. And while in majority of our bookings, we may rush through things like the kissing and the oral, for them, this might be the first time they're doing any of that stuff, which means they need more time. I've definitely had virgin bookings where at certain points throughout us progressing through the stages, they've had to say, hey, I need a second to collect themselves, because they're feeling really overwhelmed with how much is going on all at once. And I can completely understand that. Of course, there are time limitations to the booking as well. So of course, if they've only booked an hour, you need to move through these things a lot quicker than if they've booked, say, a 2 or 3 hour booking, okay? And that part is completely out of our control, but what we can control is trying our very best to make sure that somebody feels at ease. Now, something I haven't actually seen spoken about a lot, and I mean no ill will by discussing this, but these bookings are often more manual labor, as in physical up and down movement on my behalf. Let me explain why. Now, it's not uncommon for me to spend a large portion of my booking with me doing the work, the heavy lifting, we'll say. What happens with these bookings is, because these movements are so foreign to these virgins, they haven't learned how to move their body in the correct way yet, or that muscle, they may only be able to stay in that position for a minute, and then that's all that they can handle doing that certain position. it pretty much always means that myself as the provider am doing the heavy lifting for pretty much the entire booking. As we know, with most clients we see, it may be more close to 50-50 with who is doing more work than the other. The guy may have some time on top and then you're on top, and you can kind of break up the booking like that. In my experience, these bookings are more manual labor on my behalf. And now you might hear that and you're like, oh, but they're a virgin. Wouldn't they just really fast and then it's all over and done with? I have not encountered that ever with a virgin client, and I've seen a lot. Keep in mind, most of the virgin clients who come and see me are mature age virgins. So we are talking 30 and over, the majority of them. I've seen some under 30, of course, always over 18. But what happens is when you're a mature age virgin, you've become so used to the exact way that you get yourself there. It might be a certain position that you sit in. It may be a certain rhythm that you do things with. It may be a certain grip, that kind of thing. And you're just so used to the movement and the feeling of you doing it yourself. When somebody else is doing it to you, it can be really, really hard to finish, or it may take a long time to finish because the whole feeling and everything is so foreign. There will definitely be people who comment on this video saying that this is not true, that virgins always finish really, really fast. I have never had that experience at all in any of the bookings that I have done. It doesn't mean that it can't happen, but what I'm saying is with the number that I have seen, it's unlikely that that's going to be what happens. Also, how nervous they are. Like if they're really, really nervous and really overwhelmed, of course, it's going to take anyone longer to finish when they are nervous and just in their own head and just overwhelmed and not knowing what is going on instead of being in a relaxed state. So essentially what I'm trying to say on that point is it is different to the majority of regular bookings because it is more physical work on my part, which I have no issue doing. It's a great workout for me, but I just think it's important to know. Let's talk a little bit about the pressure of being somebody's first time, because it's a lot. It's a lot to have that pressure on you of being somebody's first time. They've built it up in their head about losing it and how important it is and how serious it is and how magical it should be their first time because of, movies and things that they watch online and also overconsumption of porn. They think that it may be, this wow, incredible experience. And while you absolutely always give your best, it may not live up to the expectations that they have in their head of what having sex is like in real life, especially if they've spent 40 years of their life consuming porn. There is a lot of pressure to perform and perform well. And while of course there's always that pressure in any booking, I feel like the weight of it is a lot heavier when it is somebody losing their virginity. So to summarize, not only do you have a very nervous client, which is already a bit of a thing to tackle on its own, you've got someone who's inexperienced, so physically their body is not able to stay in certain positions and move certain muscles for extended periods of time. You are trying to make sure that you are being patient and not rushing them, but at the same time being aware of the time constraints of the length of booking that they have and trying to make sure that they get where they're trying to go before the timer goes off, which is a lot going on for you as the provider. And of course, this is your job to do it. But I can see why providers would choose just not to deal with it because it is a very, very high pressure situation, especially when we are talking about a short booking. This is the reason why I choose not to see virgin clients for 30-minute bookings. My 30 minutes are just a very basic quickie GFE. They are in and out, no bells and whistles, no fancy services, just the basics really. I don't see virgins for 30 minutes. This is because it is pretty much impossible to do it. It is one of the most stressful things I have experienced in my line of work. I did see one, he didn't let me know ahead of time. And I'm telling you right now, it was a lot. It was a lot for me as a provider for what I considered a very small amount of money. Even an hour, you definitely feel the stress of trying to get them where they're trying to go while being patient, while dealing with everything else in an hour is a lot. 30 minutes is impossible. Yeah, that's why I don't do them for 30 minutes. Please keep in mind that if you are a mature age virgin planning to see a provider, and also two full service workers may be watching this video as a resource in order to try to navigate handling virgin clients, not all the time, but a lot of the time, being 40 and never having had sex with a human, means that they have leaned more into porn consumption. Now, I have a completely other video on porn addiction, and I'm not saying that every single mature age virgin is addicted to porn, but I have encountered this quite a lot when seeing these clients. What this means is that sometimes they physically cannot get to the finish line. Now, it may not be the porn addiction itself, but I think for a lot of them, they think that in real life it's going to be exactly like what they see in porn, and they're going to have as much stimulation with like the visions and the sights and the angles and everything you see in porn in real life. And it's just not the case when you're two humans, because in a lot of positions you can't see everything that's going on, so you're just not getting that brain stimulation. I have actually had quite a few virgin clients that have not been able to finish in their bookings, so please keep that in mind. All we can do is our best, but we are not, we don't have magic wands to wave and be like, finish. I wish we did. Now, I have a few tips for virgins who are watching this video and probably feel like it's a bit of an attack with everything I've disclosed. I don't mean it that way. I just want to have an open conversation so that other providers can be a little bit more aware, and also so that you as a client can understand how your situation is different for us. But I do have a few tips to try to help you with going through this process. Firstly, be selective on who you choose to see. Firstly, making sure that they're comfortable seeing you as a virgin, but also making sure that it's somebody that you feel safe and comfortable to see. Make sure you are reading reviews. Also, please check out my video on identifying scams, because that's going to be really useful, especially when you haven't been, delving into the world of seeing escorts. That's going to be really important for you to make sure that you are not wasting your money. Number 2, book enough time. Book enough time. I'm telling you right now, as somebody who has seen a lot of virgin clients, you are not going to be able to finish in 30 minutes. Okay, especially as a mature age virgin. Maybe if you're like 21, sure. If you're a mature age virgin, the likelihood of that happening, I've never seen it happen. Even an hour, like if I was you, I'd be booking an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. That's what I would be booking, especially if this is going to be a lot of first for you, like first kiss, first oral, first this, that, because it's going to feel really rushed and really crammed in an hour. Keep in mind, in that hour, you have to do your payment, you have to say hello, you have to, get a water, have a shower, that kind of thing. It's not an hour of It's like 40 minutes-ish, okay? Number 3, little tip, don't overdose on caffeine that day. This is something you probably wouldn't be aware of because you haven't had sex before. If you've consumed way too much caffeine that day, that's also another big reason why people are not able to finish. I've had a lot of people that have arrived after having like 6 coffees, and it's just not going to work. So just lay off the caffeine a little bit on the day. This also goes for arriving intoxicated. Don't arrive drunk. It's not going to work down there if you've had way too much to drink. My 4th tip is, if it is going to be a lot of first all-in-one for you, first kiss, first oral, etc., maybe consider booking 2 separate bookings. One to maybe just get to the stage of oral, and another one to go all the way. You may find that you're less nervous not having to tackle that many firsts at once, and I think you'll in general have a better experience, because you'll actually get to experience a kiss and focus on the kiss, and experience oral and focus on the oral, instead of just worrying about getting to the main event, you know what I mean? And I do understand not everyone has the budget to do this, but if you do, I would highly recommend, and a lot of my clients have actually said to me that they wish they had done 2 separate bookings to lose it, just so that they could ease themselves in more. Tip number 5, do not give yourself a list. This is a thing with virgin clients. They see your services list and they get all excited, and they're like, wow, there's so many new things to experience. I want to do these 12 activities in my 1-hour booking. Firstly, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself with a list, because you're going to feel the whole time you're going to be worried about ticking off the list, and it's going to detract from the experience itself. There is plenty of time to see lots of providers and do everything on your list, but for your first one, we already have so much weight on us as the provider to get you where you're trying to go, and to make sure you have like a nice first kiss and first time oral and this kind of stuff, without having the pressure of you wanting to do a lap dance and sexy shower for 2 and this and that and this and these 12 other things, especially when it's a short booking. If it was a long booking, I think that would be reasonable, but when we're talking like an hour, even an hour and a half, I can't get through a list of 12 services in an hour and a half. It's just not possible. And because you haven't done it before, you're not really going to understand the time constraints as well as somebody who has had sex before or has seen a provider before. Number 6, this is a big tip and a big note. Please be aware that you may not finish. You may not finish your first time having sex. And sex shouldn't be about finishing. It shouldn't. Unfortunately, a lot of people, that's all they care about. But the motions and the experience and, you know, the pleasure that you get before finishing is a really big part of sex as well. Unfortunately, as escorts, we don't have magic powers. I can't just wave a magic wand and get you to finish. I can do everything within my power to get you there. But especially when you have spent your entire life not having sex with another person, watching content, you know, you've built up what it will be like in your head, also the nerves and the pressure of it being your first time, there is a good chance that you will not finish in that first booking. It may take many bookings in order for you to finish with another person because you're just not used to it. It's not part of your routine. That is not the case for everyone, but please just be mindful of that. Number 7, there is no judgment from us. We are not judging your body. We are not judging the size of your eggplant. We are not judging the movements of your body or you being awkward. We have seen this all before. This is our job. We see many, many men a week. Like I've never looked at somebody and judged them and been like, oh, he's overweight, or oh, he has this ugly mark. Actually, oftentimes I will talk about marks on people's bodies, but because I find them really cool, like interesting birthmarks and stuff, I have never once seen something and been like, oh, look at that ugly mark on somebody's body. No, I'm normally like, oh wow, that's cool. I've never seen a birthmark there before. I'm not there criticizing the size of your eggplant or thinking it looks weird, okay? I've seen it all before, okay? We aren't judging you. We're not bothered. We really aren't. So I just need you to really get that in your head. We're not judging. We're not judging you being awkward. We're not judging you not knowing how to move your body. This is a normal part of being a virgin. It's not a big deal. Tip number 8, watch as much content as you can about sex work in general. Get the rundown, learn how to make a booking, learn how to stay away from scams, any sort of content that you can consume to make yourself feel more comfortable. Things like explaining what all the services mean or a verbal walkthrough of what a booking actually looks like behind closed doors. All of those things, all of that knowledge you are going to collect is going to make you feel more comfortable walking into that room because you are going to feel like you have an idea of what's going to happen behind the door, which is great. I think that that is the most prepared that you can be to see a provider and lose it. Tip number 9 is allow the provider to lead. Let them take control, kind of sit back. If they want to move you to the bed, they will initiate each thing that's going to happen. That way you don't need to be worried in your head like, you know, what do I do now? How do I tell her I want to have sex? How do I initiate oral? She will take the lead if you let her know that you're a virgin. She'll understand that she needs to be in that position to lead the booking. And to be honest with you, 95% of the time I lead my bookings anyway, even when they're not a virgin. I don't like men dominating me, you know, so this is very natural to providers. We are used to leading a booking, and then that way you don't have to worry about how you get from kissing to the next thing. Just let it flow. She will take that lead. Tip number 10, if you get too nervous or you feel too overwhelmed, you can ask a provider to stop, okay? You are not hurting our feelings. You are not offending us. If you need to stop, just let us know, okay? Say, hey, this is too much. We need to stop. Or can we just take a break for a little bit? It's up to you to decide. You know, you're the only one in your own body and feeling your own feelings. If you need to leave the booking, that's fine. If you just need a 5 or 10 minute break, that's fine. Just communicate it, okay? You're not hurting anyone's feelings. If you get to the oral and you're like, I can't have sex, I can't do it, I'm too overwhelmed, just let the provider know. She's not going to be angry. No one's going to yell at you. Nobody's going to be offended. Keep in mind though, asking for a refund when you've already paid for the time isn't on, and the providers won't play games with that. You've paid for the time, you've started the service. So yes, you're gonna lose the rest of your booking, the money that you've paid, but you can absolutely speak up and say you need a break or you need to leave. Number 11, this is a little bit of advice, I guess, and also a little bit of a whinge at the same time. I have had a lot of virgin clients book me and no call, no show. Okay, so this is something I feel like I need to address as well. If on the day you are too nervous and you just cannot do it, that is fine, but please communicate with the provider. Please say, hey, I'm not going to be coming today. I'm sick, I'm too nervous, I can't get myself there, my body is shaking, whatever the case is, okay? Because it's not kind and it's not polite to leave somebody sitting there waiting for you, wondering when you're going to show up and just wasting more and more of their time. The more notice that you can give the provider that you are cancelling, the better. Please be considerate that we are human beings too, and we have lives and other bookings and other jobs, etc. So you need to show us a little bit of consideration too. Tip number 12. If you are really, really nervous and you don't think you can conquer this, consider booking a social booking. A lot of providers will have a social rate on their ad. This way you can simply go out to dinner or something like that, go out and have a couple drinks, maybe even just a coffee, a setting that you would feel comfortable with. It's normally at a discounted rate. For most providers, it will be about 50% of what you would pay for full service. And that way you can meet them and sort of see if you feel like you can go ahead with it without forking out the money of full service. Now, I think that is it for all of my tips and tricks. If anyone has anything else they would like to add on the topic of virgins, whether you are a virgin client, maybe you have a question for me, you can leave that in the comments below. If you're a provider who sees virgins and you have another tip or note you'd like to leave, please leave it in the comments below. I hope this has been useful. I want to summarize by saying I really hope this video doesn't come across to virgins watching it like I'm seeing you as some sort of burden or like you're so difficult. That is really not the case. As I've said, I have no issue seeing virgin clients, and a lot of providers don't either. But it is a topic we need to talk about openly and honestly so you can understand from our point of view what it is like. And I also need this video to be the way that it is because it needs to be a little bit of a resource to newer workers who just don't know how to approach seeing virgin clients, okay? So, you've been able to see both sides of it. Maybe we can get a little bit more understanding. Please just be considerate that your booking isn't like the majority of our clients, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but it is a lot of pressure on the provider, which is why some of the providers won't see you, okay? It's not a personal attack. It's not them being nasty. It's just that it's very stressful. It's high fucking pressure. So that is why they may choose to not take these kinds of bookings. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful to somebody. And again, please leave your comments below. I hope you guys have a great day.